Good morning, Oasis. I'm here with the Sotelos, who are going to be directing and leading our marriage retreat at Cannon Beach. That's right, it's going to be a beautiful location. Take a moment, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your families, about your family.
All right, so I'm Nick Sotelo, and this is my wife Angela, and we have two boys, Jabin and Conrad. And Jabin is a sixth grader, and Conrad is a second grader. And they're both active in tons of things. So right now it's football practice, and so we'll be whisking away to get them to practice here in a little bit.
He was an all-star in West Salem baseball, right?
This last season he did get picked up on the all-star team, so that was
Right.
another wild ride of.
So tell us a little bit about what you do for a living.
Go ahead, you start.
I work for the school district here in town and have left the classroom 2 years ago and now support 6 elementary schools and their staff within this area.
Doing what?
My title is the English Language Acquisition Specialist, so I'm giving professional development to staff members, making sure needs of students are met within that population, as well as following legal guidelines.
Very impressive. And how about you, young man?
I do a variety of things, mainly throughout the week. I work for the Oregon Youth Authority, and specifically I work with our facilities. So we have 11 facilities in the state of Oregon taking care of young men and women that need that type of care, and I've been doing that for 16 years. I also finished up a PhD about a month ago in counseling, education, and supervision, and I've been licensed and active as a marriage and family therapist since 2009. Graduated in 2005. So I've been doing working with people and working with relationships and broken relationships for many, many years.
So are you an adjunct faculty member as well on top of that?
Sure. I'm currently an adjunct faculty member at George Fox University in their counseling department, and I've taught a variety of classes there. But mainly right now I pick up the final class for students, which is their internship, and helps them solidify their graduate experience and helps them in a short amount of time kind of fine-tune their skills and hopefully be prepared to go out there and stand in the gap, as I like to call it, between health and brokenness, standing in a gap.
So you guys have a passion for marriages. Tell us where that's come from, that the Lord has kind of stirred inside of you. It was first a year ago that we met and talked a little bit about, just possible retreat and explore some of those things. Where'd that heart for others and couples in particular, where does that come from?
Well, I think it started in our commitment to our marriage and the fact that it hasn't been an easy ride all of the time, but that we have committed to working on our relationship even when it's not fun or easy. And for me, several years ago, we had good friends who lost a child. And in that process was the first time that I found myself awake in the night and just praying for that marriage.
Right.
And to beat the statistics that they were up against in that situation.
Yeah, because of what that stress does to.
Correct.
Yeah. And the amount of stress that other relationships are under. Nick, how about you? Your heart for couples and marriage in particular.
Sure, and I would echo that for sure. Part of the fuel for this is our own story and our own relationship and marriage, and the fact that sometimes it's awesome and sometimes it's work, and that's just the reality of it. And I think another big part of it is, and I think I can speak for both of us in that in the work that we did for the majority of our careers, we saw the impact of broken relationships in the kids that we were working with. So me with young men and women in youth correctional facilities, and for Angela being a school teacher at the elementary level, and we would both come home and just share these horrible stories, and almost for a while was a competition to who could share the worst one, and then the reality set in that this is a very dark circumstance and world that we're in. And we were kind of frontline workers for many years around that.
And that this isn't the way the world is supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what can you do to help impact in your own little corner of the world? And so let's talk real quickly about your story. And I'm going to preach on First Titus chapter 2, which talks about the different seasons where Paul writes to Titus and has Titus, speak into the lives of people in different seasons in life, because each season has with it unique challenges as well as opportunities. What have been some of the challenges as you look back at some the seasons of your life, in particular in marriage. What have been some of the challenges that you've walked through?
Where do we begin? I think coming in, when that honeymoon phase wears off, the realization that we came from very different homes and very different ideas of how to deal with marriage and from communication to conflict, that was our first opportunity to put work into our marriage and figure out how to ride that wave out into a more positive place.
As you look back at some of the past seasons in your life and in your own relationship and marriage, what were some of those challenges that you alluded to earlier?
Oh, let us count the ways. One of the biggest struggles that I can remember is that after we lost 2 pregnancies, pretty close together, and then we were blessed with Conrad, and he is truly a blessing, but I had not pulled out of that season. And Nick could have easily walked away at that point and said, can't deal. You can't even hardly take care of yourself. You're meeting basic needs of our kids only.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He stuck that out, and
And
I'm
so
sure
it was
easy.
kind of an emotional checking out. Is that help? What is that?
All facets. I mean, I was pretty depressed during that time,
Yeah.
coming out of that, and looking back now, knowing that, not at the time, but now.
Right. Right.
So that was a big one.
Yeah. What were some of the other challenges that you think back on those years?
I think for me specifically, it was the fact that I did come from, a broken home, in many different ways broken, and not having just a practical model for how do you manage conflict, and how do you work together for a common goal, and just not ever really seeing that modeled.
And so you weren't raised with a mom and a dad and
Correct.
2 loving people together. What was your childhood? Just
Yeah, and
in
so
a
I mean,
glimpse.
I've shared this story several times. So it's not like something that
Yeah.
I haven't worked through. But I've witnessed domestic violence. I mean, I've witnessed canceled holidays. I've seen Thanksgiving dinner go through the garbage disposal. I've seen Christmas trees thrown out the front door. I've had to flee the home for threats of violence. I mean, those were kind of everyday things. And so, I mean, it was to the point to where I had my own go bag as a 6-year-old that was packed, I'm ready to vacate.
As a 6-year-old.
As a 6-year-old, yeah.
The title of the marriage retreat, Forevermore, I believe is the name of it. So tell us, where did that title come from?
We brainstormed a lot of different ones, but for us, it's been a commitment, and that commitment is forevermore, from the positive and the highs to the lows and the work that it takes. And so that's kind of why we settled on that title, and that it's not always easy, but there is always that hope out there that things are going to get better with some work.
Right. And weekends like this can make a huge impact as far as giving couples hope that things can be different, than things, you just continue to grow and the relationship continues to grow. And anything else you'd want to say as far as what you hope to see accomplished,
Sure.
Not just at the retreat, but in marriages in general within Oasis.
And I want to present, and I'm sure Angela would be in the same mindset, that we're not saying that we have things figured out, or that we have the special formula for success in marriage. I think ultimately what I would want people to take away from any time spent with us, through this communication right now, through a marriage retreat, is that the one thing that is going to sustain anything is recognizing that Christ was crucified on the cross, and that all things good come through that act, and that coming through struggles in marriages comes only through a focus on that. And so anything that I would want people to take away is that it's about Christ crucified and risen. And apart from that, you just don't have a whole lot to stand on.
That's where the hope is.
That's where the hope is.
So is it going to be a fun weekend? Is it going to be all serious? Is it going to, what do you envision?
Our experience, we went on a marriage retreat 6-7 7, 8, I don't know, a while ago,
Yeah,
reluctantly. But half the battle was showing up. And I would say that we probably experienced the whole range of a roller coaster of emotions throughout that weekend,
Yeah.
and we don't regret any part of it. So I guess I would say half the battle is showing up, and that you probably experienced a little bit of everything. Some laughter and some tears, possibly, and some seriousness, but
Yeah.
some fun also.
that's awesome.
And I would say, my intent is to have something for everyone. And so people that are in different seasons, I want to be able to provide them with something, whether it's sustaining them through a desert or if it's helping them praise God for their time of plenty, whatever that might be. I want to be able to have something for everybody. So there should be some fun in there.
Yeah, that's fun. Is and so also some older couples that will be there that will be as resource couples to people. And so it just sounds like a great weekend. I'm excited for you. So you'll be able to answer any questions in the green room. So this next week, the green room is kind of the behind the scenes.
Right.
And so anybody that's watching this video that has questions about the retreat, about anything that you said regarding just moving through challenges, and we would welcome your thoughts, questions, comments, and Nick and Angela will be happy to weigh in on those and answer them next week in the green room. So thank you very much for your openness, your transparency, and also your leadership here at Oasis. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.